Hey guys, I'm Lisa Howns-Rodon, CEO and founder of Sublime Fragrances, and today we're talking about why certain scents smell comforting. The idea of familiarity in fragrance is rooted in pre-made accords that have been created by brands and used repetitively over time. These accords are exposed to the humankind and have a very powerful memory association for many of us. It is indeed a very powerful substance, one in which we are exposed to during different times of the day, with different people, and in different places. So you can imagine that the more often you experience a fragrance in a certain setting, your memory will bring that scent back to you, whether or not you are wearing the fragrance. I will give you an example. Once, when I was at the gym, I wore this fragrance. This is Mind Games Queening. It is a strong coconut fragrance. I enjoy wearing this when I want to be in my workout mode. And it gives me comfort. So I feel at ease and I feel really in the zone. When I complete my workout and I have worn this fragrance, that memory is now associated to me for a long period of time. There have been instances when I go to the gym and I don't even wear it and I can still smell it because of that one time wearing it. Familiarity in fragrances are associated through events, through people. So when I am with someone and I have worn a fragrance, sometimes when I am not wearing that fragrance and I am hugging this person or I am close to them, all of a sudden I remember the way that scent smells. And it comes back to me. This goes to say that familiarity is re-emphasized by our relationships. And smell travels in the same way. When your brain associates a smell to a particular person, every time you see this person, your neurotransmitters will alert your brain to say, hey, this person you very well know, and you have worn this scent in their presence, in their company. It is unfathomable, this connection that you make with this scent and this person. When they are wearing a perfume, if they have a signature scent, let's say, and the more often you are exposed to this, these neurotransmitters are amped up. They fire up in your brain. They get a pre-warning or a preconceived notion that this person that you have encountered in your life has this certain scent, and it is associated to your neurotransmitters. The top 3 neurotransmitters that are associated with smell are glutamate, dopamine, and serotonin. Glutamate is a neurotransmitter that is purely mechanical. The only function that this neurotransmitter has is a setup. Okay, so if we're thinking about hunting, for instance, and you're setting up your gun, okay, the setup is the glutamate. It's purely mechanical. This isn't doing anything. This is just operational. This is the function of glutamate. Serotonin is the neurotransmitter that calms you down. It relieves stress, anxiety, gives you that feeling of calm. So certain comforting scents like vanilla and soft florals are very much commonly associated with serotonin because they make you feel at ease. Dopamine, as we all very well know, is the neurotransmitter commonly associated with the pleasure stream. So when a scent is very pleasing to you, this is what dopamine is associated with. It's the same neurotransmitter that we like to say is like when we are gambling and we win some money. This is when dopamine gets triggered. Okay. Okay, so the reason why smell is so powerful is because of this combination of three neurotransmitters: the glutamate, the serotonin, and the dopamine. Neural synapses is the space between two neurons. The more often you are exposed to a scent over time, neural synapses shorten. So the spaces between one neuron to the next are cut in half, or however they shorten, because you are exposed to the scent over time, over many periods of time. These neurons get to exercise being exposed to this scent. So it's kind of like working out in a way. To use this reference from before, when you are working out and, initially may not feel very good, your muscles get very sore, it's very discomforting. Over time, as often as you are exposed to your weights, let's say you start with 5 pounds, and your elasticity, the muscle elasticity, improves over time. We have neuroplasticity. It's the same concept. So over time, as often as you are exposed to this scent, the neural synapses practice this neuroplasticity. So the more often you have this exposure to your scent and it becomes very pleasing to you, your neural receptors will let you know that you have experienced this, and it gets to be a source of comfort for you. That is why we find certain scents comforting, because of course, long exposure, but neuroplasticity. Because of this neural network and the neurotransmitters that are receiving, so the receptors receive this signal from neurotransmitters into your brain, it creates powerful memory association. So the receptors in your brain send a signal after you have been exposed to a scent from one of the neurotransmitters that says, hey, this is a scent that you have worn or smelled at this place and at this time. So even if you aren't wearing it, this, as the example I gave before, you may have your own memory association. Your brain will access this trigger and it will make you seem like you are smelling it and you are wearing it, when in fact you aren't. That's how memory association is built over time. This is why we commonly associate certain scents with office, date night, gym, because we have been so overly exposed to this categorization over time that we can't really imagine anything different. And we stay with this concept out of comfort. The concept of having different scents for different occasions rides totally on memory. Because when you go to the office and you have your office scent, the memories that get associated to your work, your workplace, the people around you, your laptop, when you get to your office chair and you sit in your desk, you may have remnants of your perfume on the keyboard or on your mouse. It's unmistakable. And it stays there. It doesn't really leave unless you are notorious for cleaning your workspace and you clean it every day. Then yeah, you may not smell your perfume, but otherwise you're pretty much exposed to this during this certain hour of the day, the certain time frame that you are in the office and you have that scent. Okay? So, date night. You have now another occasion in which you must have a perfume. Because this person won't like you anymore unless you have a very specific date night perfume. So now you're pleasant, you're dopamine, because let's face it, having a date is a very pleasurable experience. It's exciting. We're meeting someone new. There's a prospect. Ooh, will they like me? Will we get married? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that is now associated with a scent. You see? Why can't you wear your signature scent on your date night? You want this person to remember you by this romantic notion? Absolutely. I think prosperity and, the prospect, the newness of everything being so fresh is exciting. But if we are striving for security and we want this person to be our blanket and be our solid ground, our solid foundation, I believe exposing them to one scent is, quite frankly, more effective. We want this person to stay on our mind. Why are we changing up our scent? If we want a very pleasant memory association for someone and we want this scent to have a lasting impression, and not frivolous. We don't want it, I want them to perceive me as, a badass or like a dominatrix bad girl. And then the next day I want to be perceived as this like really girly feminine woman. Okay, just as an example. This can be, a great concept for you. But for someone else, it's confusing. Like, they now have these different perceptions of you, and they're not really quite sure how to interact with you. So that is what I mean when we are going on a date night and we are selecting what perfume to wear. I think it's fun, and I think it's, a great idea to go out there and get yourself an extra bottle of perfume for that occasion. But let's face it, if your goal is to not take it so seriously and maybe hook up with this person, then I think, yeah, like go ahead and get a fun fragrance. Like get, whatever kind of scent you think matches your mood for the evening. What I'm suggesting is don't try to pretend. Don't try to make this play. Don't act anyway. Just be yourself. Use your signature scent. That's what I mean. Because we have formed a very strong bond with a scent, that is what entails for it to be comforting. The more you have a scent on, the more it is in your surroundings, your clothing, your purse. If you like travel size bottles and it's in your purse, every time you open your purse, you smell it. That is what entails a comforting scent, is your association to that smell. And that connection to your scent is reinforced over time, as I've said, with certain neurotransmitters, the glutamate, the serotonin, and dopamine. Those are the key takeaways. What you would like is more inhibitory neurotransmitters so that you can disassociate for some time a smell to reevaluate and assess effectively, your sensory experience. The more sense you have, the more you are overly exposed to perfumes, the more confusion, the more options you have, it will cloud your judgment. Okay? So, your job is to be strategic and figure out what are the elements of a fragrance that you actually love. We are building a scent love for you.